So I'm gonna get into this. This is Nick Matau. I think that's how I say the name. But I saw bits and pieces of him debating Sneeko, and I thought I would save that for afterward when I have like a lot of time to watch the full thing. Well, the thing about this guy is like I saw he's pro Israel, so whatever you think of that, whatever. But the thing that I really liked specifically about him was that not only was he good at debating, but he's good at defending his views rather than hiding behind what I consider like, identity politics. Where a lot of people like it happens on both sides, but a lot of people would do this fucking annoying thing where if you criticize something, they would hide under identity politics. You could see it with Ilhan Omar like a lot where they'll say, "Oh, it's all about attacking Somalians. It's all about this," and then you would also see it with some really pro-Israel guys where they would do the same thing. This is anti-Semitic. Oh, you hate Jews, whatever. But then they wouldn't like really go deeper or further into asking that question. So, from what I checked, his background is that he was a soldier for the United States Army. No, not Army. I'm sorry. I think it was Navy for 12 years. So yeah, there's that. So thank you for his service, and I'm gonna check him out. But as I said, he's just one of those guys that like really differentiated himself because usually people like that I've seen be more pro Israel not really explain why, but he explains it in a way that I consider actually worth listening to. Let's see.
The Jews are still God's children because they reject the Messiah.
You can be indigenous to the land. You could get it diplomatically, or you can fight for it and or defend it. The Jews have all three. Nick Fuentes says I'm wrong. I challenge Nick Fuentes to a debate anytime.
Oh, fucking love that. Oh, I love that. That is the kind of thing I want, which is whenever like you're willing to go against a debate, especially like him, I find that perfect. I find that amazing because like the thing about the thing about Ben Shapiro is I like his points, but he does not want to do the fucking debate, which pisses me off because then I don't have a big then it's like it's kind of like he's kind of scared or running away from it, or maybe he just doesn't want to do it out of principle. But the thing is, Nick's fan base has become big enough that everyone already sees it, everyone already sees where it's going. It already has enormous influence over a decent chunk of people. And the thing about that is, I freaking love that. If he's willing to debate Nick, I'm gonna watch the whole fucking thing. I think it would be great. But let's keep
It
going.
won't go well for him, but he's more than welcome. People, Charlie Kirk said not long before
Holy shit, this man is damn cocky. Cocky as fuck. Holy shit. I'll see. Well, let's see.
he died, Islam is the tool that the left will use to slice the throat of America. Absolutely spot
Yep.
on. Israel is not the reason that Islam hates us. They hate us because their ideology is different. In the Hadith, it says that every Muslim on the day of resurrection will go to hellfire and they will replace themselves with a Jew or a Christian. But I
Oh, I'll say this, which is that part is true, which is that we've had problems with Muslims specifically since Thomas Jefferson was president. It got so bad that he needed to build up the navy to even stronger than it was in order to fight against them because they kept fighting and killing sailors or sometimes putting them in slavery. And that was the problems we had. So 3 presidents in, we already had major problems fucking everything up and we had to deal with it. And it's one of those things where they are ideologically different to the point where, a lot of them love colonization or conquering, and they do it in various ways. Some do it by going into your culture, pretending to be victims, and then making everything, cater to them eventually and slowly. Kind of like how they're doing it in Britain. And it's because politicians like Keir Starmer just allow it. Whereas others of them, kind of like ISIS, Hezbollah, or whatever the other terrorist organizations are, they do it through spreading fear and forcing you into it, or you die, basically. Let's see. Oh, wait, before I forget. Those are obviously like types of them, but there are obviously cool Muslims like from the UAE. Like that's one of my, I like those guys. But the thing is, they recognize that radical Islam is a problem. They don't deal with it. They don't flirt with it. They don't allow it to exist. And they banned their students from going to British schools recently because of the threat of radical Islam. And that's the thing, which is that it needs to be treated seriously because the UAE literally fucking told us, hey, if you don't take this seriously because of lack of action or because you believe you know Islam better than us, you're basically fucking delusional. Yeah, but let's
We'll
go.
tell you something right now. Daesh, ISIS, Taliban, Boko Haram, Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, they're following the Prophet Muhammad closer than any moderate Muslim is.
Before we
Holy
get into the
shit.
video, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notification.
Oh wait, I will say that I kind of don't like this. I kind of don't like this. Like for me, I get it, like maybe allyship or whatever, but I just kind of don't like it. Like the way I would prefer it would be a big American flag and maybe like a tiny one here, like if you support it. But I don't know. I don't know. That's just a minor nitpick. It's not, it's not that big of a deal.
Button. Also, a very big shout out to those that have supported me through buying me a coffee so I can be better equipped to make more content. Thank you so much. Let's get to the video.
So you heard Tucker last night. How would you respond to him
Yeah.
and everything that he said? What would you have said if you had been in the line of people asking questions?
Yeah, how would I respond to Tucker? I would tell Tucker that stop answering questions that nobody brought up. When you come up and you say,
Oh yeah, I think that's true. Here's my opinion. I think Tucker's being paid. Just so you know, I think Nick Fuentes is actually legitimate. I 100% think he like says everything he does without being paid. And then there's Candace Owens. I think she's taking advantage of a bunch of fucking retards. But these are usually the main three that people talk about when you're talking about like being anti-Israel. These three guys, and as I said, I think Nick is 100% real in all his views. But Tucker, the thing about Tucker is, I know he's smart enough to know that he's bullshitting, or that he's just plainly being retarded and ignoring certain things that are real. Like he can talk about radical. He hasn't talked about radical Islam the same way he's talked about the Jews at the same time, which is my problem with it because both of them like are problems, but specifically ignoring one makes it seem like you're compromised, and to be honest, you pretty much are.
yeah, well, people say that we need to kill Gazan kids because they're going to come back and kill us. Yeah, nobody said that, Tucker. Nobody. And so Tucker's really good at answering questions that nobody asks. And listen, Tucker should not be deplatformed. Ben has never called for that. In fact, Ben has said the opposite.
Oh, based.
But Tucker goes up on stage and says everyone's trying to deplatform. No one's trying to deplatform you. What Tucker Carlson should do is learn this. It is not that nobody says we shouldn't ask questions, but that's not what we do on the conservative side. We challenge everyone. We don't just ask questions. We challenge everyone. So when you get mad at Ted Cruz for not knowing the population of Iran, and then months later you get the
I don't know that shit either. I don't know the exact
population of Israel wrong, why is it that when Nick Fuentes comes on your show saying he loves Stalin, you have nothing to say? Talk to whoever the hell you want.
Oh, I know that debate. But if anyone didn't watch Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson, basically what happened was he asked him a bunch of stuff. I would say it was a pretty soft debate. He didn't go too far into it. But then immediately after Nick left, I saw that he was like attacking him from behind the back, and Nick got mad at him for that. So there's that, which is if you're gonna like say shit, at least say it during the thing rather than after it and pretend like you have some moral high ground. I thought that was like huge shit from Tucker.
Tucker, go for it. Challenge everyone. That's what I would say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm kind of still formulating this question, but the Bible talks about, do you believe in the Bible?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
I've read
okay.
the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Tanakh.
I just have to ask to establish a baseline. So that the Bible says there's neither Jew nor Gentile nor female nor male nor circumcised or uncircumcised in the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of God. So I'm having a hard time with myself too with the echo. Sorry. Thanks. Where do you think that line between us all being children of God and the Old Testament prophecy about Israel or the Jews being returned to their land, where do you think that prophecy applies to all believers or just maybe the Jewish lineage? It's not.
Oh, that's a good fucking question. and let's see what he says.
Controversial. I just wanted your
You're
opinion.
asking like, will all believers come to see the afterlife?
No, more so talking about the actual like promised land.
Like who should live in the promised land?
Kinda, yeah.
Look, I do not advocate that only Jews are allowed to be in the promised land. The Christian community thrives in Israel. It's the only country in the Middle East where Christian community actually grows and has such a large citizenship.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about like the Jewish population, and the thing is, if I remember last time, that's actually true. I think the only real places where they grow would be pretty much Israel and the UAE. I don't know too much about the other Muslim countries, but I do know in I think like Sudan, for example, like Christians have been targeted specifically. Like there are a couple Christian genocides actually going on actively, but nobody talks about them because it's like it doesn't fit their narrative, so it doesn't fit talking about them. Let's see.
Talking about Tucker Carlson, he tries to say there's as many Christians in Qatar as there are Israel, but he fails to mention that they're indentured servitude. A lot of them are almost enslaved, and they're only there for work. They're
Damn.
not Christian, citizens. To answer your question, no, I think everyone who actually wants to support the Jewish state, it is a Jewish state, and I support that. Of course, they should live there, Arab, Jew, or not. I want to get rid of extremist ideologies. I'm not for this idea that no one should be allowed to go into Israel if you're not Jewish. I'm not Jewish. I've been to Israel a couple times. I love it.
Yeah. Do you think this is kind of more
That's a good
controversial, but do you
response.
think that the Jews are still God's children because they reject the Messiah? I mean, Jesus says in John several
Ooh, that is actually a good question too. Because if I remember, like Jewish people, like they don't accept Jesus as the Messiah, something like that. But let's see what they say.
times that if you reject him, you're rejecting his father because him and his father are one, and he's in the father, and the father's in him. So there's
I
that
understand the question. No, it's a good question. The answer your question directly, are we all children? Of course, we're all children of God. We're created in God's image. I'm a Noahide. I've read the Christian Bible. I follow the 7 laws of Noah. I'm not a Jew, but I believe in the God of Abraham. Uh, I uh, I've read the Christian Bible, King James Version, International Version. I've read the Quran twice. I've read the Torah, the Tanakh. I've read over 20,000 hadiths. I believe we're all children of God. But to answer your question from a Christian perspective, I'm sure there's a lot of Christians that would say that they're not going to see maybe the life to come because they reject the Christian Messiah. And I'm not here to advocate that.
Oh yeah, I know that. Like there'll be people that say you're gonna burn in hell or some shit for that. Yeah, there's always that. My take personally is like religion's personal with you and pretty much yourself. But the biggest thing I have is if your religion leads to you being an extremist or like killing or hurting other people just randomly, like because of it, like that's the part where you got to be taken down, basically. So I don't pretty much mind any form of religion as long as the people are cool and peaceful rather than a bunch of like retarded savages. But let's see.
Christians shouldn't continue to be Christians. I love Christians. I think a Christian should be a good Christian and go to church, and the Christians make the world a better place. And I'm not here to advocate for that, but obviously there's different beliefs.
Based.
Okay, so kind of undecided or kind of open to it. Well, are you saying that you're not sure, or you're just kind of to each their own?
You're asking for my opinion or what I think the world believes?
I'm more your opinion.
I don't believe in hell. I believe that there will be a cleansing period for people, but I believe if you follow the 7 laws of Noah and you are a good person, you will see the afterlife. I don't believe that people should believe out of fear that they're going to be in some kind of eternal burning pit of hell or something, or what the Muslims believe, where the Muslims believe that Christians and Jews will all go to hell and the
Oh
skin
yeah.
will regrow and get burned off for all of eternity. I don't believe in that. But that's my personal opinion. I know
Jesus.
you probably don't agree with that, and
Yeah, I did not. I don't know that deep into the Quran, so that was even new for me. I just knew about the martyrdom was accepted, the 72 virgins was accepted. Like I think it was like any act of homosexuality would make you deserve of being killed, and something about what was the other thing? And that even if you did it once, you're pretty much going to hell. It was shit like that.
I'm not
Okay.
here to change that.
No, that's okay. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you.
Okay, first, can I ask? Are you? It doesn't matter. Are you Catholic or Protestant?
Neither.
What's that?
I'm neither.
Okay, I know just because Pope Leo did say that violence can never be justified, and so
Mhm.
we have just war theory. So my question, I'm
He said
reading.
violence can never be justified. Is that what he said?
He said that you can't use religion to justify violence. So
Oh,
my
well, it's a good thing
and
Israel doesn't do
we
that.
have a just war theory. Okay, so
Sure.
my
Mhm.
question about the war in Gaza. So I'm reading. I'm finally trying to read the Bible. I read the first 5
Good.
books. Okay, which is the Torah.
The Torah,
And
good.
then you were saying that the Quran is pretty
Oh
extreme.
god.
I think that was extreme. It was saying go into this other pagan country's land,
Right.
kill all the men, even
Yeah.
sometimes their women, children, kill all their servants, take all of their stuff,
That's right.
destroy their altars.
Yes.
So can that be used to justify Israel taking the land, taking the settlements? Like, how do you, as a
Oh
Christian, we
shit.
have, we don't have many wars going on in the New Testament. So can that be used to justify?
Yo, I got a question. Why is this crowd of people actually smart and not retarded? Like, I've genuinely seen crowds of people that are fucking retarded speaking. So I'm not very accommodated to everyone not being retarded, screaming, and stupid. Because when I saw when I saw people like Charlie or people like Myron or pretty much people like Ben, they would always have like people that are radical retards that are just fucking everything up. So this is kind of like I'm saying this kind of weird for me. Like what the fuck?
Israel's actions.
Yeah, that's a great question. So to answer it, you're speaking of Amalek who attacked the Israelites on their way in from the east.
Not
And so,
just him though. There
no,
was
it's just him.
multiple
No,
groups. So when they're going into the promised land, they have to
no,
take out those people as
no,
well.
no. They were supposed to fight the other nations. The only one that was actually required of them to take out the men, the women, the donkeys was Amalek. Only Amalek. Okay, so to say it can be justified, sure, there can be somebody that says whatever they want to justify anything they want. They would
Mhm.
be wrong, and I can point to scripture to show them that they're wrong. Amalek is not around. Like Hamas, the Palestinians, the Christian, whoever you want to say, they're not Amalek. The Quran says to if your wife, 434, Surah 4, Ayat 34, if your wife is disobedient, to smack her.
Oh yeah, that part's true. The beating your wife part. Yeah.
Right? It says, I will cast terror into the heart of the enemies, of my enemies, and you shall strike the neck and the fingers of every unbeliever. This is not a story that it's like, oh, this kind of happened, but this is just a story. This is a command. In the Hadith, it says that every Muslim on the day of resurrection will go to hellfire, and they will replace themselves with a Jew or a Christian to replace themselves from going to hellfire. So they'll take a Jew or a Christian, throw them into hellfire so the Muslim can go to whatever, their 72 virgins or whatever they go to. And
Yeah. I'm really curious about saying if like the all women going to hell thing is actually real because I seen people talk about verses of it and I know that part. So let's see. We're getting into a lot of religious texts and just so you guys know, I'm not like super deep into like all the scriptures of each of them. I'm not the guy who's just gonna pretend to be like an expert on this exact thing. Like I like Christianity. I like religions. I'm fine with people being religious or whatever. I just yeah. I'm just personally not myself too deep into any of them. Like outside of learning them for, having more knowledge, that's pretty much it.
so
Okay, well, the Old Testament tells people to stone people for various reasons to death. So how is that different than the Quran?
yeah, sure. Those are, well, first off, those are generally violent criminals, rape. There's other things that aren't so violent that we would see today. Even then, you would need generally 2 witnesses. Even then, throughout all the time of Judaism, there's probably less than a couple dozen times that they actually incorporated some of these extreme measures. But that was the justice system. And I'm not saying you have to agree with the justice system or not. But that is not the same as when the Hadith say that in the last hour,
Mhm.
every Muslim will fight and kill every Jew, and he's hiding behind a
Damn.
rock, and the rock will say, "Oh, slave of Allah, there's a Jew behind me, come kill him." That's not the same thing as some story that happened back then, and we're reading the story like we read a history book of Thomas Jefferson did this. That doesn't mean I have to do what Thomas Jefferson did. So that's the difference. Is there's a difference between
Bro, ain't no way he brought up Thomas Jefferson. Nice.
command and there's a difference between story. And furthermore, let's let's put the gaslighting aside for a second. I'm not saying you are, just in general. Ask yourself, the top 15 global terrorist index. Can you tell me how many of that top 15 are Muslim organizations?
Okay, I'm gonna give a guess. Uh, e 12. I'm gonna say 12 of them. I'm gonna say 12 because I'm gonna be honest. Like, there's a lot of them. Let's see.
Most of them.
All of them. Every
Oh
single
sh oh shit. All of damn.
one. So even if you were right, because people come up to my live all the time, well, how come you don't talk bad about Christians? The Crusades did a lot of stuff. Hey, you want to put me in a time machine? I'll go do a TikTok live back then. But today, 300 Christian girls were just kidnapped a couple weeks ago out of Nigeria by
Damn.
Boko Haram. 300. Most of them were slaughtered. Yazidi girls are being put into sex slavery at the age of 10 by Islam. Slavery still happens in Islam. In Sudan, you can see the bloodstains from space. You tell me a Christian organization.
Yo, he's actually telling the truth about that. In Sudan, like they only found out about that because of the bloodstains. But basically, Sudan is one of those places where after one dictator dies, another dictator comes. After that guy dies, another one comes. And dude, it's a hellscape. Like it's just in fucking ruins. Every time, like they're not. I don't think they're ever gonna be able to stabilize. I think the region is like bad, like fucking terrible. But like they have like radical Muslims. I think they had like their own Christian groups too. I think they also had like their socialist groups, but that place has deep lore and we learned through all of it just because of satellites basically.
That's doing that, or a Jewish organization that is doing that, or whoever.
Do you think Islam, because they're 500 years after that, do you think that they're just behind? Because we had one time, we had the Inquisition, we burned people at the stake, we had religious wars, and we're beyond that now. Do you think that they will eventually like move beyond that like we have?
Yeah, sure. No. And I'll tell you why. Because Islam in the book, it says, if anything of me is wrong, throw the whole thing away. You cannot reform Islam. If you do, because there are Muslims that try to do it, they're just not good Muslims. They're good people, and I like them better. But I will tell you something right now.
Damn.
Daesh, ISIS, Taliban, Boko Haram, Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, they are following the Prophet Muhammad closer than any moderate Muslim is. If you are the Prophet Muhammad, not just, we all know he married a 6-year-old and raped her when she was 9. We know that. You know what else he did? He would kill this old man because he couldn't prostrate correctly, and he put rocks to his forehead. So they killed him as an apostate. He burned the houses down because people missed the afternoon prayer. And he killed a woman because she spoke badly of him. If you
Damn.
tell me what that sounds like, does that sound more like the Taliban to you, or your moderate Muslim in America? It sounds more like the Taliban.
Yeah,
The
that's
Taliban,
true.
they are following the Prophet Muhammad. That's why I don't have a problem with Muslims. People are like, oh, you're Islamophobic. Okay. A Muslim can be
Oh yeah, I hate that. It's a made up term in order to guilt trip you into not talking about a subject. Basically, it's the equivalent of you bring up like statistics in America of a certain group, and then they'll call you racist for it, basically. Where people, like, instead of looking at legitimate criticisms or like advocating for it, they would rather protect these groups. But what happens is that after they like cater and protect to these groups for so long, you'll see them basically act badly and worse every single time, and they're allowed to get away with it. Like a good one, for example, is like kind of like how in Minnesota, a lot of the a lot of them a lot of the Somalians were whatchamacallit. They were scamming things, they were stealing things, but yet nobody wanted to say anything about it because they didn't want to be bad people, even though the Minnesotans were defrauding the government, getting lives more luxurious than they do, stealing taxes away from the regular citizens, ruining the elections by making them cater to literally their entire community to the point where the rest of everybody else in Minnesota had pretty much no say, and both politicians, one was Somali and the other one was Jacob Fry, who was a white dude who learned how to speak their language because he had to cater to them. And then he won the election because, what was it? All the Somalians grouped up against another group of Somalians who were like some royal families who like committed like horrible acts or whatever the fuck. And then Jacob Fry won the election because of that. Like that pisses me off. Like things like that. Things like that fucking piss me off. But yeah, it's basically that you're not allowed to judge it because I'm gonna say this word, and this word basically means, oh, you're a bad person if you don't allow everyone to defraud you, hurt you, attack you, say whatever they want about you negatively, make fun of you, laugh at you, whatever. Like that's basically what Islamophobia is.
an amazing person, a bad person, anything in between, just like a Christian Jew, whoever. I have no problem with Muslims. But Islam is an evil ideology, and we should be allowed to say it because it is an evil ideology. Just like the KKK is an evil ideology. Just because they believe in a god does not protect them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Damn.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. I'm wondering, what does being pro-Israel or Zionist actually mean, like, practically? Because those words seem to have certain connotations, and everybody thinks about them differently.
Well,
Okay, I'll say this. So this is kind of what a lot of people do, which is they'll basically say one word, but they'll kind of misrepresent it to basically mean everything in the book. So a good example is they say immigrants because they want to group up legal immigrants as well as like immigrants who became citizens. They want to group them up with illegal immigrants and maybe people who overstayed their visas. They want to do it so that there's confusion, so that you don't know which group people are talking about. And what happens is that it's the same thing with Zionism, where Zionism just literally means that you believe in a Jewish state, but people have used it in a way to mean like, oh, just every Jew or everyone in Israel. So it got to the point where the term basically just means whatever the person implies at the time to be true. That's basically it. It either means all Jews or everyone who even like is slightly for Israel or everyone who is slightly for any of that. That's literally what it got watered down to. Like for example, when I say illegal immigrants, people get mad and will say no, they're immigrants because it's been like beat into their fucking minds this stupid word to represent an entire group because they can't differentiate between good sections, bad sections, or whatever sections. And the same thing happened with that word.
for everyone, it's a little different, right? And this is the thing about how people have taken the word Zionist and they twist it. First off, Zionism was already completed, right? But sure, colloquially, we say Zionist to be pro-Israel. There are all kinds of Zionists. There are left-wing Zionists, there are right-wing Zionists. There's people like me, one-state solution Zionists. I believe from the river to the sea, it should be Israel. There are people who are two-state solution Zionists.
I'm more of a two-state guy, at least for me. I think after Hamas is taken care of, there needs to be a giant wall built around it. Like Israel needs to leave the area, and they just need like hard monitoring around the border, and then they just leave the Palestinians alone. Like no trade relations, no allowing them into their country, nothing of that, and they're just allowed in their own little space. And hopefully they don't, have another Hamas pop up out of nowhere. And hopefully they have like a good set of, diplomatic leaders, kind of like from the UAE or somebody else, to at least fix all the internal problems to make it so that they are more peaceful, far better, and less likely to do terrorist attacks. Basically, that's my opinion.
Hey, we should have a state of Palestine for whatever reason in this land, and we should have Israel here. So when you say what does it look like for everyone, that might be something different. If you're asking me what does that look like, it means educating and continuing to tell people the distorted revisionist history that started from the USSR propaganda called Operation SIG to try to demonize America by attacking Israel.
Oh my god, he knows about Operation Sig. Fuck, I'm not that deep in it, but I heard that word before.
Making the Arab community more anti-Semitic, starting to lie, apartheid, genocide, all these little buzzwords. That's what I do. For someone like, somebody else who might be a Zionist, it may mean something different. It may mean getting rid of Bibi Netanyahu out of office. I like Bibi Netanyahu.
Damn.
Some people don't. And they very much support the state of Israel. Thank you.
So, Nick Fuentes is our savior. So why
Whoa, bro, what do you mean he's your savior, bro? Like, it's not that deep. Like, you could say you like him, but your savior, man, that's a little deep. That's a little deep in celebrity worship, man.
on earth should we support Israel when they are going around spitting on Christians, when they have made it clear that they are not interested in peace and they're committing a genocide against innocent, nonviolent Palestinians?
Yeah, so to answer your first question, yes,
Bro, her voice was annoying. I will say that. Like that was a question I want to see answered, but like her voice was fucking annoying, bro.
I know there's like the same 3 to 5 videos that get recycled over and over. I've been to Jerusalem so many times. I love Jerusalem. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. There's at any time tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Christians, Jews, and Muslims in Jerusalem. If they were spitting on Christian and that was a systematic problem, I would say that it's something that you would get a video every 5 seconds and you would see it every 5 seconds. You wouldn't have to recycle the same thing over and over. What I would say is that, yes, there are Christians that have been spit on in Jerusalem, and that's an awful thing. I condemn that, but they're not being beheaded in the masses of tens of thousands across the Islamist world. And so I think a lot of bad faith actors like to use this, especially.
Oh, I agree with that. If anyone's spitting on other people, I don't. Well, I don't even know Israel's laws. But if they have laws against that, they should go to jail. That's just my opinion. Like, we can't accept that in regular society because at least in America, that's considered assault. And yeah, so if they have their own close variation of whatever that law is, I think that person should go to jail. But yeah, or if they're hitting people or like punching people for that shit, jail. But yeah.
Islamists trying to say, oh, look, they spit on Christians, and meanwhile, they're beheading them and kidnapping Nigerian Christian girls from school. To answer your second question about a genocide, it's not a genocide because it doesn't meet the 1948 definition of genocide, if you want to talk more about that. But
Nick Fuentes says you're wrong.
Nick Fuentes says I'm wrong.
That. Oh, okay. That's a question. That is a question. I didn't even know Nick actually. So that means Nick at least knows about this guy. If what she's saying is true, I don't know if Nick ever talked about the other Nick. But if this is true, like that means there is a potential for a debate. I would love to see it.
I challenge Nick Fuentes to a debate anytime. It won't go well for
Based.
him, but he's more than welcome. Unlike Tucker Carlson, I'll actually challenge him.
Why should Christians or anybody support Israel when the Star of David is a satanic symbol?
Oh, people say the Star of David is a satanic symbol. You know, it's interesting that a lot of the early Christians actually use the Star of David. Even Islam, when you go to Shiloh, which is in Judea and Samaria, they actually have an old mosque, which was converted from a Christian church. The reason people think that is because they say it's the Star of Remphan or Saturn. It's not. There are many symbols throughout history that can be utilized for multiple purposes. That doesn't mean they all mean the same thing. It's just a ridiculous talking point that people say.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It seems like the biggest topic online is Israel, but nobody seems to want to step up to the mic.
Why should America care about Israel? We have our own problems.
That is actually a very good question because we have so many fucking problems here. Here's my basic take, which is if our relationship with any country, no matter which one it fucking is doing a negative like effect on us or hurting us in any way, I think we should be able to question it or why we even have like, any alliances with them. Like that's just my opinion. No matter which one it is, if they doing mad shit, especially if they're trying to like do shit that actually hurts us, we should do something that negatively affects them in whatever way possible. Like whatever, whether it's sanctions, whether it's like cutting off trade, like whatever method is best, or even just cutting off protection, like that too.
That's a great question, Maddie. Uh, why should America? So it's not about what makes America America is our ideology and values. It's not just a piece of land, right? Our ideology and values is exactly who we are. If it was solely about a piece of land, then let the Islamists take over, and then you can keep calling it America. Let communists take over. You can keep calling it America if it's simply about a piece of land. If it's not and it's about ideology, then our ideology should match who we support and who we align with. And if one day that ideology doesn't match with Israel, then I'd be the first one to say that we shouldn't support it anymore. But right now, our ideology with Israel does align, especially against the biggest threat to the West, which is Islamist ideology.
Right now, we have veterans starving in the streets, and we're sending billions to Israel. Why?
Oh, for this, dude, this is my take. This is my take. I think veterans need to get a red carpet back, at least if they aren't like dishonorably discharged or like do some random bullshit. But they should have the red carpet pulled for them. I don't like seeing any veterans on the street, and the fact that we focus on so many other groups instead of veterans has shown that society is collapsing because instead of the people who were willing to put their lives to defend and possibly even fucking die for the country, as well as the people who literally fucking died for the country in every war imaginable, other people are getting worshipped or given more priority over them, which pisses me off because it's like this guy literally fucking was willing to die for you, but yet you're so obsessed with like some random illegal immigrant from El Salvador who came here who literally wants to fucking kill you and the rest of your family, and you're more obsessed with him and you're willing to fucking die for him. That pisses me off. But yeah. But yeah, I fully support that. I heavily agree in the giving veterans more and doing more for them. But the problem I have is so many people are ungrateful, worthless pieces of shit, and because of that, they don't give a fuck. They really don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm a United States Navy veteran, and I agree we should be doing more. The problem is that macroeconomics, the thought of it is that it's not simply if we just stop doing this, all of a sudden veterans will get fed. The problem is that we have politicians that care more about glorifying veterans instead of actually doing something to help
Mm-hmm.
them. Not all
Based.
politicians, some do a good job, and we should actually do more towards that. This idea that we have a partnership that pays us back and gives us a lot of long-term benefits is not the answer that we need to start feeding veterans in the street. So for you,
I agree with that take, but I would love to see what like his opinions are on the long-term benefits. That's another one because I at least see what happened in Iran as us and them both fighting against Iran, which I think at least right now our interests heavily align. But I would like to see what the long-term interests are for other things that he says. That's my big one so far.
I'm assuming you're Christian?
No, I'm not. I'm a Noahide.
You're a Noahide. Okay,
Yes.
so for you, what's your motivation for being pro-Israel? Like, what's the source, kind of the well for you?
It's very simple. It's morality and values.
Morality
Yeah,
value.
it's this idea. I mean, if you ask the Groypers or you ask the pro-Palestinians or a lot of the Muslims, they'll tell you it's because I'm getting paid and blah blah blah. Yeah, sure, whatever. No, it's just morality and values. It really is. I see the alliance with Israel. Of course, nothing will ever be perfect. It's not always perfectly aligned. But the alliance with Israel is absolutely important for the biggest threat that I see, and that is Islamist ideology, along with leftist and communist ideology, which Islamists love to align with as well. And Israel is the tip of
That's
the spear.
true.
Israel has done more for the war on terror in the past 2 years than we did in the over a decade that we were doing stuff in the Middle East.
Yeah. So, but for you
Damn.
personally, as a Noahide, is there any sense in which your personal religious convictions inform?
I believe in the God of Abraham. I believe in the covenant with the Jewish people. But I do live debates every single night on TikTok. I run the biggest pro-Israel live debates, and I can argue it with theology,
Damn.
and I cannot bring up the Bible or the Quran.
Yeah, that's the thing. If he does the biggest debates, I've never fucking seen him until recently when Sneeko like debated him. That's the thing. I never knew this guy existed. I only knew it because I saw Sneeko say some retarded shit and him just slap him back on it. But if that is true, I'll keep. If that is true, I'll look into other things. But right now, he's still pretty new to me.
Once and still beat you in a debate. Think about it. Look, there's 3 reasons that people can have a land, okay? There's 3 main reasons. You just need one. You can be indigenous to the land. That happens sometimes. You could get it diplomatically,
Oh
or
yeah.
you can fight for it and or defend it. The Jews
I fully agree with that. Which is in the U.S. we didn't really do the first part, but we did the other 2 parts, which is we were diplomatic or we fought for it. Like if I remember, the Texas territory after like a certain amount of fighting was bought. Florida was bought. The Louisiana Purchase, but then also like a couple of the states we like fought the Indians for it, as well as the Spanish, the French, and other places, and then we took them over, which yeah, so I agree with it, which is Americans have a claim to this land because, you know, because previously others have fought and gained the right to keep this land.
have all 3. You only need one. The Jews are indigenous to the land. The Jews diplomatically use diplomatic resources for the land prior to 1948 with the United Nations of the world, the Balfour Declaration with the British, and the Arabs. King Faisal, they worked a lot with him for Saudi Arabia. And the Jews have fought and defended the land, not once, not twice. We got 48, 56, 67, 73, 82, 2001, 2014, 2021, and then October 7,
Damn.
2023. And so the Jews have shown time and time again. The difference between the Arabs and the Jews is the Arabs fight like they have land to gain. The Jews are fighting like they have land, or sorry, land to lose, right? Because the Jews have nowhere else to go. That is their land. So the Jews fight like they have nowhere else to go. The Arabs are fighting like it's just land that they're gaining for their caliphate.
Got it. Thanks, man.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, I have a second question.
Go ahead.
So people say that Israel is not the Israel of the Bible. So Christians say, yes, of course, Jews still have the promise of God, but the current Israel is not that Israel that we're talking about. So therefore, we shouldn't support it. What do you say to that?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because
Mhm.
when we talk about the covenant versus Israel, so first, those that say the covenant is gone and replaced in theology, the covenant will stop when the sun and the stars are extinguished. That is God's words. Unless they're trying to
Damn.
convince me that God lied or changed his mind, that's not going to work. Now, as for Israel, ask them simply when the book of Revelations talks about the third temple, where is that temple? Why is that temple there if Israel doesn't matter? Where is Jesus going to return according to Christians? Mount of Olives, which is right outside of Jerusalem. The idea that Israel has been replaced is not from God. It's not from the words of Jesus, more from the words, honestly, of kind of Paul. Honestly, even then, I think it's misquoted a lot. The salvation is through the Jews.
Yeah, this is the thing I meant. Like, I'm not super. I didn't read super deep into any of this, so I like I kind of understand what he's talking about, but I don't fucking know them word for myself, so I can't really say shit.
That is what Jesus Christ said. Now, again, there's some Christians that say that's a fair point, but I just think it just kind of not replaced, but shifted to mean all Christians. Look, I believe we're all children of God. And I believe if you follow the 7 laws of Noah and you're a good person, you will have the light to come, whatever you want to call that. I don't believe in a permanent.
I'm gonna have to check what that is. He keeps bringing that up. I don't even if I don't know the 7 laws of Noah, I can't judge the 7 laws of Noah. I'll check that out. Let me
Pit of
see.
hell. I don't believe in a God that says you have to be scared into believing to me. I want to believe in God because I believe in God, not because I'm scared of not believing in him.
Okay, let's see. Fucking see. Let's see what this man talking about. Yeah. I can't say shit without knowing. Let's see. Do not deny God prohibits a dog. Oh my god. Idolatry, emphasizing worship of one God as described. Okay. Do not blasphemy, prohibits cursing God. Do not murder, prohibits taking a human life. Says, okay, I know that one. Yeah, thou shalt not murder, but you can kill. I know about that one where murder is basically the intentional killing of someone no, unjust intentional killing of someone else, whereas killing is kind of like think of it as self-defense, or maybe someone else murdered somebody and you're giving them the death penalty, or maybe like someone committed like something against you and like, or like someone's trying to like hit your truck while they're on it and you run the truck, it ends up killing them, like things like that basically. Do not engage in illicit sexuality, prohibits adultery, incest. I actually agree with that. I actually agree with that. Prohibits theft, including kidnapping. Agree with that. Do not eat flesh from the living animal. Promotes kindness to animals. Agree. I think animals, like at least the way I think about them is they should be killed in a way where like they barely have any pain at all. So once they do get produced to me, like that's the way I prefer. I don't like the purposeful torture of them. Let's see. Establish courts of justice. Commands the creation of legal systems to uphold these laws. Okay. Okay, okay, that's I actually don't agree with any. I actually don't really disagree with any of it. Okay, let's continue.
That's my opinion. Thank you.
Hi, Nick. So I wanted to know, you are devoted to debating every night on TikTok. What would you say are the top misunderstandings of Israel and the Israeli people?
That's a good question, actually. Top misunderstanding is that we don't gain anything from our alliance with Israel.
Oh, okay, let's see. Let's see what he says. I actually said earlier, I want to know what he says here. And now he might bring it up. So let's see. Let's see, because the thing is, outside of like, the military operations where we work together in order to fight Iran those 2 times, like I would like to see what the benefits are to make it so that it's worthy of giving them money over time. But as the thing goes, I don't like giving like every single nation money at the same time. So I'm not only Israel specific. I'm for like looking into all foreign aid, whether it's like military or whether it's other types of aid, and thinking about whether we should cut it off or get rid of it.
You don't get a 7,000?
Oh, well, me personally, no, I get 10,000 a post. No, no,
Oh
I don't
God.
get paid $7,000 a post. Um, so one thing is that we don't gain anything from our alliance. The intelligence alone that we get from Israel is by far worth more than the $3.3 billion MOU with the $500 million defense system that we give them. That, by the way, 400 of that $500 million goes into contracts with Raytheon, Lockheed, and this actually goes into our GDP. We have the bird system since 1977 with Israel.
Oh, so we're basically giving them money so then they could buy our military weapons. Well, okay, whatever. But he said that the intelligence we get is more than worth the price of it. To be honest, I would like to further check into that. Like, what type of intelligence we get? Because I know the Mossad is like pretty fucking impressive, like extremely fucking impressive. But what I hope is that our intelligence agency is a million times better. Because if the Mossad is better than the U.S., I'm sorry, but we're fucking cooked, bro.
Yeah, added tens of billions of dollars to our GDP. The intelligence that we get from them is unmatched with the amount of money we give them. The amount that we are able to resupply our arms when these are going to go on their way to expiring. We give this to Israel, who does our job. If we don't do the job, or sorry, if we don't support Israel today, we will be in the Middle East tomorrow. If not, we will be the Middle East. I see Israel as the tip of the spear of fighting the most radical, dangerous ideology in the West, which is Islamism, and the communist leftist people. Charlie Kirk said not long before he died, the left will use Islam. Islam is the tool that the left will use to slice the throat of America, slit the throat of America. Absolutely spot on. It is a danger, and a lot of Americans don't understand it because we have two big oceans on either side of us. I was in the military for 12 years. Islam is a threat. It is awful. I read the Quran. I thought, wow, this is extreme. I read it again, and I realized I was wrong. It's very, very extreme. The Hadiths are extreme, the way they think of us. And so Israel is the tip of the spear in the fight against that. And if we don't see that, it's going to be a problem tomorrow for our children.
Right. So you would agree that a strong allyship with Israel is putting America first.
Absolutely. If we didn't gain something, I don't care if it's from Israel, South Korea, I don't care. If we don't gain something, I will not support us supporting them.
Dude, that is a fuck. Oh my god, I love that statement. I love that statement right there. This is the thing I meant, where like when I check like other like really pro-Israel people, they would never answer that, and it always pissed me the fuck off. Because it's like, it was like, what about this? And he said it right there, which is if it's not beneficial at all, no matter which country it is, we should cut it off. Oh, I love that statement. I really do. I heavily like that.
If tomorrow, for some reason, we don't gain something from Israel, as much as I love Israel and the Jewish people, I will not advocate for us to support Israel, but we do gain something from this. And so, yes, it is America first.
A comment I heard yesterday a lot by people here were because of Israel, there is terrorism. America has problems with.
No, I know that one. That one's not true. The Muslim terrorists, they've been doing it for years, but there have been like places taken over by them for years and years. Like they got like 50 something countries out of it. But the whole thing is that radical Islam does not really give a fuck. It'll just take over and fight and destroy whatever areas they have, such as Africa, such as the Middle East, such as trying in America. Like every fucking place has problems with this. And the more and more like unvetted, unchecked, and mass immigration they have, like you'll see it in France and you'll see it in Britain, where they are literally like having to cancel events because of terrorist attacks, like every fucking once in a while. And it's all because they allowed every fucking person to come in without a single ounce of looking into it or vetting them or a single shred of attempting to actually look if they can make the country better, and then they fuck everything up. People die because of it, and then these governments scrub it under the rug purposefully and hide it from their civilians, and then they pretend like they're good guys for doing it.
Islamic countries. and Europe is suffering because of their support with Israel. How do you answer that
Yeah,
without
yeah,
laughing?
because Islam loved America and the West before Israel. Israel's the reason. Do you know what started our personal, like our Navy permanently? It was Thomas Jefferson,
Thomas
because we had it
Jefferson.
during the Revolution and it disbanded. You know why?
Damn, he knows about that shit. He knows about my boy Thomas Jefferson. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I vastly support that. Fucking yeah, based as fuck, man. Man, Thomas Jefferson. The fact that like nobody fucking talks about it pissed me off. But I'm glad he brought him up. I love Thomas Jefferson.
We started our permanent Navy is because Muslims kidnapped and enslaved
In
1.5
1788.
million European and Americans. And when Thomas Jefferson and his ambassador said to the Muslim leader, "Why are you doing this to us? We have never fought the Islamic world. We don't have a problem with you." The Muslim leader looked at Thomas Jefferson and his ambassador and said, "Because you're a kafir and this is what my Quran says to do to you." Islam has had a problem with us way before the modern state of Israel was even a thought. Israel is not the reason that Islam hates us. They hate us because their ideology is different. They do not believe in humanism, individualism, women's rights. They don't believe in this. And hey, look, that's fine. Keep it in your fucking country. Stop bringing it here. And by the way, any American
Oh, I agree with that, which is that not only them, but like all other immigrants who come here and then try to like say, "Oh, my country is better," but then at the same time they whine, bitch, moan, and complain when they're being like deported back pisses me off too, because it's like you came to America, you have a far better life than like almost everybody on the fucking planet. And then you're out here disrespecting everything, talking shit about how great your country is, that you're never gonna go back to because you're a pathetic, worthless piece of shit, just taking advantage of people in America's kindness and people being retarded enough to just let you do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I think, for example, anyone holding a student visa or any temporary visa, whether it's work, whatever, if they support any terrorist groups, they need to be deported immediately. I don't give a fuck about anything else. They need to be deported immediately. As for people who are citizens supporting terrorist groups, like I'm gonna be honest, at least for me, if they do anything, put them in jail, charge them for terrorism as well, or charge them for some form of, like literally advocating for a foreign government on your fucking soils. Some sort of charge for that.
that wants to go to Saudi Arabia and protest that they don't have a Starbucks on the corner, don't do that either. You're in their country. When you're in our country
support
and
that.
you have in New York City, you have CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations, the biggest funders of Zohran Mamdani's campaign. Zohran Mamdani is now a communist Muslim who is now the mayor of not Chicago, not Los Angeles, New York City, where Muslims brought down our World Trade Centers and then tried to build a mosque over it. You think that's a coincidence? That's what they do. They take over other
Damn.
people's sites, they build a mosque over it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're one step away from Friday night prayer in Times Square. And
They actually did that. They actually did that.
it is a reality. It's very scary. And people are naive. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Daniela. God bless.
How you doing?
Hi.
I'm investigative journalist Josh Bernstein.
Hi, Josh.
If you want me to tell you who's funding Mandani, the Democratic Socialists of America, I'm the first person in media that called for President Trump to make them a terrorist organization, because if they become a terrorist organization, now you open up more tools for the administration, for Scott Bessent, to go after the funding of them.
Dude, that is true. Cause like the way that he did it, like at least, I'm not gonna talk about CARE. I'm gonna talk about like the cartels. But the way he did it was once he made the cartels a terrorist organization, what happens is that the intelligence agencies, who by the way, I'm gonna say they frequently break laws all the fucking time, but whatever. They can look into them. They can literally look into every fucking detail of those dudes' lives. So what they did is like they'll watch them, they'll see them, they'll like have people go after them. They'll learn every single aspect of their life, from their girlfriends to what they read. It's fucking scary. But yeah, like once you put them as a terrorist organization, you do that. And I actually support it because I think CARE, like we tried to ban it in Florida recently. I don't remember if it went through, but I remember we actually attempted to, like just in Florida alone.
Neville Singham is also behind him. PLS, you have so many organizations, not just the blind sheik that he was close to and all that, not to mention the United Nations group that hid October 7th savage terrorists and kept them in safe houses. So I'm
Oh,
pretty much an expert on any topic. And by the way, I am Jewish and pro-Israel. So there you go.
Mashallah,
So you can
brother.
ask me any question too.
Yeah, you know what? Uh, get get my social media. Maybe I'll bring you up on a live sometime.
Oh,
That'd
I'd
be
love to.
amazing, and then you can
I'd
answer
love
some
to.
of the stuff.
I can tell you real quick why Jews are liberals.
Go ahead.
Tokan Olam. We are the chosen
Tikkun
people.
Olam.
And so there's a Jewish guilt that most Jews, not me, but most Jews feel. And so because of that, they vote for the less enfranchised, the minorities.
You're
and
absolutely right.
dude, this is actually true. Like you'll see it. Like a lot of them are rich. They'll deplatform people, and it like they'll deplatform people. They'll go against free speech, and you'll see how like that heavy censorship stuff was pretty much everywhere, or how Tyler Raw got what he got taken off of Patreon. Like you'll see shit like that happening, and then you'll see it through a lot of companies that do that, and usually they tend to have leadership that is Jewish. Like I'm not saying all the time, but usually they will be, and then that made a lot of people like just hate them in general.
suicide vote because those are the ones that are the most anti-Semitic.
You're absolutely right. It's a good faith that they don't understand. It ends up coming back. I would love to see Jews become more and more conservative. People ask me all the time, what do you think about how Jews generally are more left wing? I think it's shifting a little bit since October 7th, but generally more left wing. Yeah, no, look, I don't like it. I think every American, not just Jew, Gentile, I don't care, black, white, should become more conservative. And
Yep.
every American should be America first. We have a different
Absolutely.
idea of what America first
yeah.
means, obviously, but we should. I don't denounce that, Tucker. I don't care. That's amazing. That sounds great. But I appreciate your
Sounds like this guy got major beef with Tucker Carlson, bro. Bro, like I could tell he has major beef. He brought him like 3 times.
input. I absolutely agree. It comes up a lot, and I think you're absolutely right. And I hope Jews start to see that it is going to be the side that ends up biting you in the neck, for sure.
Yeah. And we've got to remain not fractured, but together. Because if we're fractured, then we're going to be voting ourselves into communism. And we cannot do that.
Oh,
That's why
yeah.
the Republican Party needs to stop all this nonsense of anti-Semitism that's starting to creep in on the far right. We've got to stop all of that.
Conservatives, if you're a conservative and you are platforming and agreeing with anti-Semitic people who are attacking grieving widows, I will not forget who you are.
Oh, I'll say this. Just anyone attacking like grieving widows, specifically like innocent people. I think they're pieces of shit. I think what happened to Erica was horrible, like absolutely terrible. And I think Candace Owens was the biggest person who like who literally like showed how horrible and like how big of a snake she truly was. Because after Charlie died, she literally made her entire bread and butter off of destroying Charlie's legacy and and like attacking Erica. And it went from just honest like curious things like, oh, this is weird, to accusing Erica of killing Charlie, to accusing TPUSA of killing Charlie, to accusing Trump of killing Charlie, to accusing Jews of killing Charlie, to like accuse like Netanyahu and Israel of killing Charlie, to now, which is that, oh, Charlie was the first death of the Iran war and like all that stuff, or like Charlie was a time traveler and all that stuff. And it's literally just like retard bait, because her fan base is a bunch of like people who don't understand the concept of the real world, and they're so mentally fucking ill and deranged that they're fucking annoying. Like, yeah, I really don't like Candace Owens fans. I can get why people like Tucker or Nick, but I think Candace Owens fans are fucking retarded. Like, genuinely.
You're a coward. I have no problem saying that. Just because we're both conservatives doesn't mean I should. In fact, we as conservatives, that's what we do. Tucker's wrong. Tucker says, I thought that's what we do as conservatives. We just ask questions. No, we challenge everyone. That doesn't just mean just asking questions. You go one step above. The left, they may just ask questions. And by the way, they're pre-printed questions that they approved before. We don't
That's
just
true.
ask questions, Tucker. We challenge everyone. If you want to challenge Ted Cruz by saying you don't know the population of Iran, like, come on, like all of that stuff, then you're.
Oh, bro, brought up Ted Cruz. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like Ted Cruz that much. Like, I'm gonna say this: if there was a way to vote this guy in to replace Ted Cruz, I would do it in a heartbeat. Fucking yeah! Like, not even a single ounce of hesitation. I just don't like Ted Cruz. I don't like that. I don't like the way he said that his only goal is to advocate for Israel in American politics. Because, like, the difference between his support and what I would say would be, like, John Fetterman's support is John Fetterman, like, you'll see him, like, he'll, like, have maybe, like, a little Israel flag on him or something, but you don't see him bringing him up all the time or saying that he's only advocating for it. You'll see him saying he's usually advocating for people in Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is his state. I want him to have more loyalty towards Pennsylvania or more loyalty towards the United States than Israel, even if he supports it. Well, the Ted Cruz stuff, I didn't like it because, like, it kind of pisses me off the way he does it. But yeah, I really like how this guy is going about it. I really support that.
You're going to
Yeah,
challenge Nick
it's snotty,
Fuentes
it's kinda
when he
arrogant.
says, "Oh, I love Stalin." That's fine. Have him on your show. Tell him you love Stalin. But can you ask a follow-up question, Tucker? Is that too much to ask?
Exactly. No, look, I agree 100%. And the fact is that we have to
Yeah, man, I can tell this guy got huge beef with Tucker Carlson, bro. But I gotta check why. I have to check why. But like, this guy got huge beef with him.
understand that as conservatives, it's a big tent, but there are these voices now that are buying into the left-wing propaganda and ideology, and that needs to go away. And so how do we do that? Well, we have to educate people, obviously, but more than anything else, we've got to call out those voices, just like Ben Shapiro did.
I was just about to say,
Yeah,
we need more
just
Ben
like Ben
Shapiro.
Shapiro.
Something
Oh yeah, like that. In TP USA when he called people out, I mostly agreed with his statement. There was obviously parts I didn't agree with. I made a video on that, but my like short-term opinion was the USS Liberty was actually on purpose. My thing was whoever gave the order and as well as the men who did the order and continued doing it even though they eventually figured out it was US soldiers they were killing. They should have been hung and or trialed in US or Israel's court and then put to death. That's my first thing, that entire crew. And another thing was London B. Johnson's involvement was terrible because he like literally he literally like made a whatchamacallit. He sabotaged everything by stopping American crews from going to save the people on the ship. He sabotaged them and he stopped them from saving them. And then after that, he purposefully hid all the evidence, going against his Secretary of State, who I forgot his name, but he was cool as fuck. He was mad at the whole Israel thing and why they attacked our ship, while Lyndon B. Johnson gave them orders to, hey, just let your crewmates fucking die over here. But yeah. Yeah, that is my main thing. I did support most of Ben Shapiro's thing, although I didn't support the part where he said, "Oh, that was an accident." I don't think it was. Like it definitely wasn't. And the thing is, the current Israel is not the same Israel as before, which is the sad part because I wish if Lyndon B. Johnson was tougher, he could have had a trial. He could have like gotten all of them hanged. He could have saved whatever people he could have gotten. And then afterwards, like we probably would have had like a rocky relationship, but it could have been repaired after like all the bad actors were taken care of with diplomacy or some shit. But because it wasn't, a lot of people have animosity towards it because it's happened forever ago. But at the same time, like our president didn't vouch for us when it was his fucking job to vouch for America first, and he didn't. But yeah, but yeah. I'm not, and that's the worst part. I'm not the biggest Lyndon B. Johnson fan. I really am not. But yeah, that's it.
happened last night during Ben Shapiro's speech. And if Ben ever watches this, something changed about Ben Shapiro last night. I have always respected Ben Shapiro, but after last night, I 10 times respect Ben Shapiro. What he did last night, it's a hard thing to do. Nobody likes to be in the wrath of Candace Owens conspiracies or Tucker Carlson or telling Megyn Kelly, why won't you attack a young mother, but you go after Meghan Markle? But he did. And the respect I have for him, I thought was at the roof. It's somehow higher. Absolutely incredible. And
Yeah.
I really support it.
The last thing I'll say is these folks that are pushing these conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk, do they not understand that you're helping the case in Utah against, Robinson? You're
100%.
helping that case.
Yeah.
You
100%.
could, God forbid, put
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of them are stomping over Charlie's grave, and they're purposefully doing it because they're either retarded, super left leaning people that just don't want to accept reality, which is that the guy grew up in a conservative family, and then after he went to college, something snapped and changed when he became more left leaning. He had a transgender boyfriend, all that stuff. Like, people don't know the concept of nuance, like new information and figuring things out from then, because it makes them look bad. And then a lot of like people who wanted to take advantage of the power vacuum that was left after Charlie Kirk was killed just took advantage of it and negatively affected his reputation by continuously talking about it and using it towards their gain, even though they are literally walking all over his fucking grave. But yeah.
That Robinson kid in a situation where his defense team is saying, well, look at all these people on the right that
100%.
think I didn't do it. And that
Yep.
there was this guy that shot and, this person and that person
Yeah.
and this angle and that person and hand
Continue.
signal
Okay, let's see.
do it. And that
Yep.
there was this guy that shot and, this person and that person
Yeah.
and this angle and that person and hand signals.
Continue to ask
It's
questions.
sickening.
Continue to ask questions. Go for it. But after 3 months, and you are now down to French, Israeli, Egyptian, trapdoor, laser beam, beekeeping,
What the
Mormon.
fuck?
I forgot the rest. When that's what you're at, and you don't have a say, and then your Ben Shapiro call you out, and then now you're back to Israel. Okay, done. You're done. Okay, you don't have a case.
All right.
But yeah, continue asking questions, but do something. Yeah.
Yeah, have me on your show.
Thank you,
If
I
you have
will.
a card?
Nah.
You have a card?
I'm out. You know,
No?
I hate you.
Okay. But yeah, but I'll just ask one more question. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really not even asking of a question.
You guys step up to the mic if you have
It's
questions
just-
about Israel.
So you're keeping everything on Israel? Everything on
You
Israel?
can ask me one more question.
Well, what we
Yeah,
did
let's
and
see.
what we had to do to take out Fordo and what we had to do for Iran
Oh, Midnight Hammer. He's talking about that.
was something that's going to preserve Israel for future generations, even though Mossad and Israel and the IDF could take out multiple countries at a time. I mean, they're one of the strongest
Right.
militaries in the entire world.
Right.
But these folks that were attacking, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for instance, that were attacking taking out these nuclear programs from Iran, do you think anyone else would have the testicular fortitude to
Let's see. Anyone else? If I had to give it a guess, to be honest, I think a lot of other presidents would have done it if they thought it was time, if they thought like the threat was big enough that it would fuck them over if they didn't. I'm pretty sure a lot of the presidents would have. I'm definitely sure Bill would have, or maybe George Bush. As for Barack Obama, I don't know. I don't know. He'll probably give them another sweetheart deal that gives them another nuclear program. And Joe Biden, I'm pretty sure he probably would do the same.
have done that other than President Trump? Why would you leave that for future generations to have to deal with?
No, absolutely not.
You know
this,
what I mean?
This idea where they're just like, oh, they wanted nuclear weapons, they would have had it by now. No, you know why they don't have it by now? When Benjamin Netanyahu in what was it, the 90s, when he said that, Iran is getting close, like 5 years away from nuclear weapon, people say, well, how come he didn't have one then if he was so right? Yeah, because
Oh, I know that. Long story short, it's a surefire way to get yourself into a strong position and have global influence, around other countries, whether they like it or not. And that's one of the things. So that's the thing about a nuclear bomb. And the thing is, they're not going to stop after one time doing it because they want to become a global superpower, at least capable of destroying the world. Because the best deterrence against any nation invading you is literally a nuclear bomb. Because it's mutually assured destruction, where basically, hey, France attacks me, oh, France is going to get nuked. It's the same thing for any other country that tries. But that's basically the whole stick. And they won't stop trying, and they won't comply if you are easy with them. You have to be tough on them. And after the regime is fully dead, hopefully we can get a more compliant, better government in charge of it from the Iranians instead of the IRGC.
this nuclear scientist went missing. This nuclear scientist who randomly died at 30. The Mossad, of course, had nothing to do with it. They exposed Natan's nuclear reactors, opening up to investigations. They exposed Stuxnet. The Stuxnet program that we did with American
right.
Israeli Alliance. This slowed it down, but it's not a permanent solution.
it's not.
Absolutely, President Trump made the right decision, and I never heard anyone say they were wrong because everyone's like, if you attack them, World War III. Every single one of you are wrong, and that's why you're not in the position. You're not in the Oval Office because you're cowards, and you rather see our children have the problems because we were too cowardice to take care of today. Israel did 99% of what we needed. That last bomb.
I'm a judge this part. I don't know too much about this exact part. I can agree that they did stuff, but like 90%, I don't know, man. I believe that's a bit of an overestimation. Because like, we're the ones who brought the fucking bombers there, and we are the ones that also kind of fund their military in order to do operations like that in the first place. But yeah, like 90%. I don't know, man. I think you're overstating a bit, personally.
Bombing run is perfect, and by the way, it's going to start up again, and we cannot turn a blind eye to the number one sponsor of terrorism, the IRGC. Are you kidding me? They're not just in the Middle East; they're in Venezuela. The Maduro's regime.
I did not know about
all
that
over
part.
with Hezbollah. Hezbollah, a proxy of the IRGC.
Oh yeah, Hezbollah.
Are we really just going to allow the drug operations? That's partially Hezbollah. They do drug operations in South America. They are poisoning our kids. They are fighting us. They have sleeper cells in our country. And what are we supposed to say? Oh, well, that's Israel's problem. No, it's not. It's our problem.
Obviously, it is. And here's the thing. You don't negotiate with terrorists. You eliminate them.
What the fuck you mean? You do negotiate with terrorists. It's called you blow them the fuck up, and then they have to get to the table, or they get blown the fuck up again. That's what kind of like Venezuela, except we didn't blow him up. We killed all his men, and then we kidnapped him, and look at them. They are complying. That's how it should have been with Iran, although they're a bit tougher. So after hopefully more of their leaders are dead and more of the people are gone in Iran and everything's taken over, then we can finally negotiate with them. We could even give them a nice deal. You could go to another country, be kicked out, and like you won't have to worry about being a fucking criminal anymore. Either that or just put them all in jail. I would prefer the second option, but some negotiations you have to you have to kind of like give them some stuff.
Look what happened in 2005 when they ripped up the settlements, right? In Israel. What happened? Ariel Sharon had a massive stroke. He ended up in a coma for many, many years. You don't negotiate with terrorists.
You don't negotiate with terrorists. That's right.
So you can't negotiate with them. And so because of that, we have to just eradicate the rat's nest. I'm sorry. That's just what we have to do. And you got to take out all the people that are sponsoring it. And I hope that this administration, and I believe they do, understand that. And God bless Israel and America for being in concert together to face this, obvious axis of evil. So
God bless America. God bless Israel. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And this is it for this video, but yeah, he was a very interesting guy because, as I said, I never seen him before, and he's one of the few guys that I would actually say I actually respect his opinion on it. I actually heavily respect it. I actually heavily like it because he explains himself well rather than going into, as I said, identity politics that was like, oh, I hate this place, or anti-Semitism, or blah, blah, blah. You can't attack me because of this. Because the whole thing is, that's supposed to be a farce or a fake wall to be like, oh, if you do this, you're a bad person. And then you can't question anything else behind it. But I like that he was able to not only defend his views, but like give me an idea of why he thinks the way he does. But yeah, I really like it. I fucking like it. But yeah, yeah. But that's pretty much all.